Hi, I'm Marcia Lehman, and I'm a Knox County Master Gardener. Today we're pruning a Russian sage. Botanical name is Salvia, so it's in that same family with Salvia and with other members of the mint family. So it can be grown as a substitute for lavender, but as you can see, it's much taller than most lavenders get. It can get easily 3 to 4 feet. This one is definitely pushing the 4-foot limit. And while it is a woody plant, it's not particularly winter hardy. So if we come around to these tips, you can hear them break. And that's the result of winter kill. So the standard procedure for Russian sage is you can cut it back in the fall if you don't like this woody look over the winter, but frankly I think this provides some winter interest and it's still rather attractive. So this time of year, dormant, late winter, is when, if you haven't cut it back in the fall, is actually the best time to prune it. And the pruning method is to cut it back to about 12 inches above the ground. So if you've got a little ruler, in my case, my clipboard just happens to be 12 inches, so this is my measuring device. I'm just going to go in and start removing all these stems at about 12 inches above ground. Most of these cuts will be made with my hand pruners, but there are, I see a couple of pretty big, thick, woody stems that will probably need my loppers. So both my pruners and the loppers have been sanitized and I'm ready to go. As you can see, we're in the front yard, and so there will be a little bit of road noise behind us this afternoon. So here's my clipboard down here at the bottom, and so I'm going to come in and start cutting at about the height of my clipboard. And you definitely want to wear your safety glasses because these things will poke you. Just coming in right about the height of my clipboard. 12 inches is our target, and that's the height of my clipboard. So I'm just coming in, you know, you can be a little higher, a little lower. And what I do notice, where I just cut here, is green tissue, so that's good. It did not winter kill below that. If I had been cutting down to 12 inches and everything looked brown, then I would want to keep going lower. And that will be the case for some of the really skinny things that had less tolerance for the cold. So let me clean up one side of this shrub, and then we'll just turn the camera off, clean up the other side, and come back and show you what it looks like. And on the thinner, I mean, this is at most 1/8 of an inch in diameter. Those are pretty brown, even down to the 12 inches. The thicker stems, when I get down to 12 inches, actually have some green on them. So this shrub made it through the winter. And sometimes, you know, I like to make just one cut to get down to the desired height, but sometimes, especially if it's going to poke you in the face, take it down in pieces. All we're doing is taking everything down to 12 inches. When I get here, then I've got a better view of some of this older wood, and I can thin some of that out for airflow and sunshine, and I also have a better view of anything that may be dead. So let me finish working and get everything down to roughly 12 inches. Then we'll come back and show you from the top what it looks like and take out a few more things that don't look particularly healthy or just a little crowded. I have finished cutting everything back to the height of my clipboard, roughly 12 inches. I'm a little taller than that, and that's intentional because in making all those cuts, I was not paying attention to where is a branch node, where is there a bud node. It was, we need to get the height out of here. And you could do that really slowly, or you can do it quickly and then come back and clean up the cuts. I chose to do it quickly, come back and clean up the cuts. So let's pan over and show you the pile of debris that we have just from this one Russian sage. And I would admit I've already kind of compacted it a bit, so that's a pretty big pile of debris. So now we'll come back and we'll pay more attention to making those cuts at a branch node or at a bud node. And in fact, we probably need to do a little bit of thinning because we have some dead wood in here. There is some dead wood in here. That's another nice thing about the way I cut this back is looking down at the top, I can tell quickly which stems are green and which stems are not green. And for a couple of these bigger, thicker stems, we will definitely need loppers. So we'll pause the camera and come in and give you a view from the top as I finish cleaning this up. Okay, if we look here where my hands are, you can see that this stem is dead. So I can tell the way that cut, that's still dead. And I should probably I can also tell by the fact that it's hard to cut that it's dead. So it makes me wonder about this whole major stem here. But as I come up, I can see greenwood here. This one beside it looks dead. Cut it there, cut it back again, cut it back again. That's still dead. So we got a little bit of growth on this side. We have a little bit of green over here. But I'm just looking at this overall and saying, one of these years, this whole stem needs to come out. In the meantime, I'm going to cut what looks dead to kind of open up the center. And then we have some little spindly stuff growing. I've got this stem here, which also is pretty thick, pretty old looking. That one is very dead looking. If I take it back in pieces, it's still dead. Come to there, still dead. Still dead. All the way down, that's dead. Likewise with that. Let me come down here. Now I finally have a little bit of green. So some of that, being a smaller stem, could have been winter burn. But it really makes me wonder what to do about this. And I am inclined to remove this, and that's definitely a lopper cut. But I'll make it in pieces just to see if anything is green a little lower. That is still dead. There's no green tissue there. So I'll try and take that as low as I can go, which may be hard to do sitting low. That's definitely dead. Dead all the way down. Okay, so that will help clean up the center a little bit. And that, you know, I still have really mixed emotions about this piece because I do have some green growing here, but the stuff growing out this side is dead. So we'll take that off, and let me come back to hand pruners on this. And now, since I'm not sure if it's dead all the way back, I'm going to come back to every couple of I have green, so I'm going to stop there. That is not dead all the way back. And I have green there. So that's good. Now this one is broken, so that comes off. This one looks quite brown, and it's growing out. We're right along the driveway. And for as much as this grows in a year's time, we're going to take that off. And yeah, that was dead. So that was a good decision. Likewise, this one coming out here at we're dead out here on the tips. I got some green there. Let's come back to here. A little bit of green there. So I'm just going to keep cleaning up around here and cutting back a little by little. And if I don't find green material, then I'm going to take it off even further. Still no green material, so after a couple cuts, I'm just taking it off at the base, and sure enough, that was dead all the way back. Again, at this point, I'm cleaning up and making cuts at a branch node or at a bud node, and I'm looking to thin out the center a little bit. And we'll just shut down the camera now because I showed you what some dead wood looks like. And I'm just going to keep cleaning up these individual stems. This is the part that gets tedious. We have finished cleaning this up, and it is about 12 inches tall. But as we pan down into the shrub itself, you can see how we have thinned it out. And much of that was just by removing the material that had been winter killed. Because if you're in the Knoxville area, you know that in the middle of January we had a significant snowfall, but more importantly, we had temperatures that were below zero. So there may have been a little more winter kill than usual on this shrub. But again, the key is come back, cut it back to about 12 inches, and then, you know, clean it up, it's got plenty of airflow here. In another year, this one will probably come out, but for now, I'm going to keep it. We could probably toss a coin and take it now or take it later, but I think we'll save that one for later. And so, it doesn't look anything like it did at the beginning. Beginning, it was 4 feet tall, you couldn't see through it. We came in, we cut it back slightly above 12 inches without exercising a lot of caution. We just kind of sheared it back. Then came back and started making the judicious cuts at either a branch node or a bud node and making the proper cuts. So there we are. This is Russian sage, which suffers a lot of winter kill every year. So every dormant pruning season, which here runs from about mid-January through early March, you're going to come out and cut this back to about 12 inches and clean out all the dead stuff and open it up for airflow and sunshine, and it's going to grow back to 4 feet tall by the time summer's over. Again, Russian sage, a pretty basic pruning, but you have to do it every year. We hope you learned something today, and we thank you for joining us.